Imagine a place where the sun never sets in summer and the night feels eternal in winter. A place where nature is so grand that it shapes not only the landscape, but also the soul of its people. Welcome to Norway, a country that holds secrets as fascinating as its northern lights. But today, we're not just talking about the natural wonders everyone knows. Today, we're diving into the most unusual customs and traditions that make Norway truly unique. Have you ever considered how the environment influences a nation's culture? Science tells us that geographic isolation, harsh climates, and close contact with wild nature can shape habits and rituals that might seem strange, even absurd, to the rest of the world. And that's exactly what happens in Norway. Let's start our journey with a tradition that defies logic: kos. Kos is a Norwegian word with no direct translation into English. It can be understood as a moment of coziness, comfort, and being at peace with oneself and others. But here's the bizarre detail. Norwegians take kos so seriously that they have a habit of locking themselves in remote cabins in the middle of the forest, with no electricity or modern comforts, just to enjoy solitude and nature. Sounds poetic, right? But imagine doing this in winter, when temperatures drop below freezing and darkness lasts nearly 24 hours. It's as if they are constantly seeking balance, a way to reconnect with something primal in an increasingly fast-paced world. Speaking of winter, let's talk about one of the strangest sports you've probably never heard of: krokket. No, it's not the croquet you know. This is a game where participants try to hit a ball into a hole on a frozen lake using only a stick and a lot of patience. Sounds simple, but when you're standing on ice facing biting winds and at constant risk of slipping, the game becomes a mix of skill, luck, and physical endurance. It's as if Norwegians have turned their extreme climate into a source of entertainment, a way to laugh in the face of adversity. But Norway isn't just about harsh winters. In the summer, when the sun shines almost non-stop, Norwegians have a habit that might seem at the very least peculiar. They love sunbathing, and not just anywhere. They will lie down on grass, rocks, even rooftops to soak up every possible ray of sunshine. It's like they're recharging their batteries for the long months of darkness ahead. And science backs this up. Sunlight exposure is crucial for vitamin D production, essential for physical and mental well-being. In a country where winter is so long, the quest for sunlight becomes almost a matter of survival. Now, let's talk about something truly bizarre: Lutefisk. This traditional Norwegian dish is made from dried cod that is soaked in a lye solution before being cooked. Yes, you read that right. Lye. The result is a translucent jelly-like fish with a strong smell and a taste that divides opinions. For some, it's a delicacy. For others, a culinary challenge. But what does this say about Norwegian culture? Perhaps it's a lesson in resilience, turning something seemingly uneatable into a tradition that brings families and communities together. It's as if through Lutefisk, Norwegians are saying, we can take what's difficult and make it our own. And we can't forget the bunad, Norway's traditional costume. In a world dominated by globalized fashion, Norwegians still keep their heritage alive by wearing clothing that tells a story. Each region has its own bunad, with unique colors, embroidery, and details that reflect local history and identity. Wearing a bunad is like carrying a piece of one's homeland, a connection to roots that hasn't been lost over time. It's a form of cultural resistance, a way of saying we are unique and we take pride in that. But perhaps the most intriguing Norwegian custom is Friluftsliv, which can be translated as open-air living. This isn't just a hobby, it's a philosophy of life. Norwegians believe that spending time in nature isn't just beneficial, it's essential for well-being. They hike, camp, fish, and even sleep outdoors, regardless of the weather. It's as if they have a symbiotic relationship with nature, one that goes beyond the physical and touches the spiritual. And science supports this. Studies show that spending time outdoors reduces stress, improves mood, and boosts creativity. Norwegians seem to have known this for centuries, incorporating this wisdom into their daily lives. Now let's talk about something that might sound a bit morbid. Dødsbo. When someone dies in Norway, it's common for the family to sell the deceased's belongings in an auction. It may seem strange, but for Norwegians it's a way of dealing with loss, celebrating the life of those who have passed, and giving a new purpose to the objects they left behind. It's as if death isn't an end but a transition, a passage of memories and stories to future generations. Finally, let's discuss a custom that might seem contradictory at first, janteloven, or the law of Jante. This is an unwritten social rule that discourages individualism and boasting. In essence, it says, "You are not better than anyone else." It might sound oppressive, but in practice, it helps maintain equality and humility in a society that values the collective over the individual. It's as if Norwegians are saying, no one is above anyone else, and we all have a role to play. So, what can we learn from these unusual Norwegian customs and traditions? Perhaps it's the ability to turn challenges into opportunities to find beauty in the unexpected and to keep a strong connection to one's roots, even in a rapidly changing world. Norway shows us that culture isn't just something we inherit, it's something we create, shape, and reinvent every day. And maybe, by looking at these traditions, we can find a bit of ourselves reflected in the mirror of the unexpected. What about you? Could you adapt to a life of Friluftsliv and Lutefisk? Or do these traditions simply prove that the world is full of surprises, waiting to be discovered? Norway invites us to think, to question, and, above all, to explore. And who knows, maybe one day you too will find yourself lost in a cabin deep in the forest, under the glow of the midnight sun, discovering a part of yourself in the silence of nature.